Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, that website address for you is theclinicaltrialsguru.com. It's been a busy last couple of weeks here for me, as always, and I'm sure for all of you guys as well with the 4th of July holiday and all that stuff. So anyways, nice to get back to work and get back to answering some of these viewer emails. And as always, just send them to me, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. This one is actually from a CRA, otherwise known as Monitors, Clinical Research Associates, and she's asking me, and she'll remain anonymous, she's asking me about what the future of this industry is. In particular, she's asking what the future is for CRAs and what the demand will be. So we have a lot of CRAs who are employed by the CROs, or the contract research organizations. For those of you who need help in figuring out what all these acronyms stand for, just go to the blog, theclinicaltrialsguru.com, and type in the acronyms. But anyways, a CRA is a monitor, CRO is a company like Quintiles or Parexel or PRA that I've talked about and blogged about numerous times. So anyways, what is the future of this industry? And we always try to look ahead to see what we can do now to better position ourselves for the future, either to capitalize on it or to make plans for ourselves and for our careers. So it's a very good question. If you can remember back in 2008, when the industry, right around the time the recession hit, the Great Global Recession, a lot of studies were canceled, a lot of studies just stopped. There was like a freeze for a good amount of trials. There were a lot of layoffs. People were worried about what the future of the industry was going to be. There was a lot of outsourcing to India. And now now it's 2013, so for those of you watching the future, we've seen a huge amount of increase in the work from the site level, and CROs the same. And I've talked with numerous high-level people from these CROs, and they all tell me that 2013 and going forward, we see nothing but increased demand for our services. So this is good news for us in the clinical trial space, whether you're a research site, whether you're someone who works for a CRO, or whether you're an independent monitor, independent contractor that just gets work from whatever CRO needs your help at the time. There's a lot of you out there that are 1099ers, independent contractors. So obviously you might be curious to know what the future of the industry is, and I have no crystal ball in front of me, but I've talked with numerous people from CROs, even from sponsors, and I've just seen my own anecdotal evidence of what I've seen this year, 2013 and going forward, is just a ridiculous amount of work. I've never seen this many studies coming out at the same time, especially early 2013. There's been a bit of a slowdown recently, but I'm expecting that to pick back up towards the third and fourth quarter of 2013 and going forward. And a lot of people are worried about Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, as it's officially called, and how that's going to impact clinical trials. I really don't see that impacting trials all that much. So that's hopefully some reassurance for you guys out there. Of course, I have no crystal ball, so I don't know, but from what I'm seeing at my own clinics and what I'm hearing throughout the industry from like high-level people is that there are going to be tons of studies. The demand has never been greater. A lot of the outsourcing of these trials to India and China, that's going to continue, but that's never going to replace the trials that were conducted in the United States. You know, there's been a lot of issues in India as of late. I'll link to those stories from my blog on this blog post here. I mean, there's been a huge backlash in India, so a lot of the United States people thought that once drug companies and CROs start outsourcing these trials to India, that will kind of be the end of our industry here in the United States. That couldn't be further from the truth now. I'm seeing kind of a reverse. CROs and drug companies are actually leaving India and going to China and Asia, although they are going back to India after the reforms and regulations were done there, but they're never going to replace the trials in the United States. And so China and India are going to keep growing. The United States industry for clinical research is going to keep growing. I don't see a slowdown. I see CROs hiring tons of CRAs. There's a huge demand, actually. If anyone's looking for a career, become a study coordinator for 2 years, 1 or 2 years, and then be a CRA, and work for one of these CROs, or just be an independent CRA. Work for yourself and contract with them, because the demand, they can't keep up with the demand. They are hiring people left and right. So it doesn't matter what kind of clinical trial you want to specialize in, or what part of the world you live in. This industry is a growing industry, and it's looking to be that way at least for the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, no one can predict further than that, so I'm not going to even try to. But for the next 3 to 5 years, there's a lot of work in this industry. Hopefully this helps answer your question, and hopefully reassure you a little. I try my best to not be too bullish on this industry just because I work in it, and I really, really try to keep it all in perspective. But after what I've heard and the little amount of research I've done, and just talking to different folks in the industry, and my own anecdotal experiences, 2013 and going forward in the clinical research space will be very busy, and there's a lot of work coming up and a lot of demand for our services. So hopefully this helps. Give my Clinical Trial Guru producers a shout out. Sarah Elizabeth Siegler, Resolve Research Solutions, Accurate Clinical Trials, Earnhardt Clinical Trials, PTNR, Patrick Stone, Darshan Kulkarni, Biopharm Systems, Zymewire, Mozio, South Coast Clinical Trials, Breakthrough Clinical Trials, and St. Paul Medical Research Center in Miami, Florida. Thank you all very much, and keep the questions coming. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. I love them. Thanks.